bump that left hip out just to, obviously it's tough not to overdo it.
All right, Jared, I need you back again. Okay, sorry folks, we lost you.
We're back.
We're back. Okay, so the question from Les was, how do I get my right arm lower? So go ahead and get set up. And it is, first, if his shoulders were open, then his right arm's going to be higher. So the first thing is to make sure your shoulders and feet are in line. But the second thing then would be to, have you ever seen on the range, PGA Tour, BJ Singh used to do it all the time. He'd stick a glove under here. So it really making sure that that right arm, both arms should be working closely with your body. That's why they use that glove drill. But the other thing would be to turn that elbow under and in to really make it even tighter at a lower position. And then so you can see that worked. I mean, you were about a centimeter low here, and now you're an inch low on the right side. So this change would help you promote a draw. Now, folks, I would never have told him to do this in a lesson just because it wasn't showing any reasons to be needing to be changed. So what we're going to do though is finish going over the pre-swing fundamentals. So get set up again. So we talked about grip. We just talked about alignment. Now I want you, posture is a part of alignment. And then we look at balance and ball position. So he looks like he's straight up and down, as far as not on his toes, not on his heels. Go ahead. But the biggest thing that I see with him is that he hasn't fallen off balance at all in his finish. He's holding that finish on every swing. So that's balance. And then ball position, Jared would, well, so from Jared's angle, for where you're at there, Jared is able to see, or our camera, you folks are able to see near to far ball position. And it's important that, rock back to your heels, rock back to your toes. It's important that you feel like you're straight up and down and get into your stance, your actual address. And, if that shoulder's just kind of right out here over your toes, that's a pretty good position. It tells me, now if his shoulder was here, then I'd be saying, okay, yeah, good. And then if he was back, I'd be saying he was, that's a kind of one way to kind of take a look at it. But the most important thing is that he can hold his finish when he's done. I've known some players who were heel heavy to start, but when they get through impact, they're perfect. So go ahead. And that's really good. And then if the other ball position, of course, is what we call front to back, and Jared would have to come over here for that on this side. Sorry, buddy. I whipped. We're not into 2016 with our mic yet. We still got a wire. Okay, so then from this angle, Les has got a pitching wedge in his hands, and this can change depending on the player and their arc and how they go about their process. But in general, the middle of the stance is going to be fundamental. But the main thing is what we just saw. Jared, come here and come in here, and I want people to see on that last shot, the ball was here, and you can see the club started digging there. So his ball was there. Oop, it fell down. His club hit the ball, and then he bottomed out with his arc and made contact here and dug some ground out. So his ball position looks great because of that strike, and it looked good going into it as well. Okay, so that's GABB, grip, alignment, balance, ball position. Jared, I don't have any questions yet.
No.
Oh, people, please. Okay, one more. Okay, so he's just got a great move. There's just nothing wrong here. There's no reason he can't go out there with what he's showing me right now. Yeah, okay.
All right, so if you need to get over a tree or hit it under a tree,
okay,
how far back or how far forward do you play a ball?
If you need to go, let's start with over.
Okay.
Because the under is fairly easy. You can hit your driver if you want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, granted, the lie would, if he's in the cabbage like we got in front of us here, the rough, that, he wouldn't be able to hit a driver out of there. Unless it was really sitting up. But, okay, so get into your stance for me. And Jared, I want you to be able to be, yeah, straight sideways. I want people to see the angle of the club here, where it starts. This move, however much forward the handle is in front of the head, we call this forward shaft lean. Okay? Now, the least amount of forward shaft lean we're going to get away with and try and catch that ball right at the bottom of the arc is with the handle being right above the ball. This part of the handle being right up. So we would try and max that out. Boy, this is so confusing. This is why when you watch the Golf Channel, folks, I kind of scratch my head sometimes because I know you can get confused. We first have to say you're going over a tree. It's easy. You hit your 60, right? But the problem I think Les is getting at is, well, yeah, but my 60 won't get there.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to get over the tree, but I want to max out my distance.
Right.
So if I take my stock 60 with a good amount of forward shaft lean, yeah, okay, it's going to get over the tree, but it's not going to go far enough. So what I'm talking about here is trying to go high, but max out distance. So that would be the first thing. We would want to make sure that the golf club is straight. You know, we're only going to get away with right about there. This, we're not going to be able to hit the ball solidly. We're going to blade it or chunk it probably. So we want to get that shaft lean as minimal as possible that we can get away with it. Okay, so go ahead and get set up and do that. And then the next thing would be, we're going to really pay attention to our center, which you could consider your nose or your chin or the middle of your chest. And I want you to make sure that center doesn't get in front of the ball at impact. You're going to want to keep that right over the ball. So we're maxing out everything back toward the ball so that we can get the highest trajectory possible with this longer club. And you just hit that as the highest one you've hit. Of course, it's the first time we've tried to do it. So does that answer your question?
Kind of, yeah. I've always wondered, because I've always
Sorry,
heard
buddy.
that the further up you put it, the higher you're going to hit it, but I like that. Stay back. And
Right. Max out your shaft lean. Minimize, I should say. Maxing out would be like this. Minimize your shaft lean. Make sure your nose and your center don't get, if you get up here in front of the ball, the club's going to be delofted when you hit it. So by keeping that nose there, and then it's just, so you're not going to take much of a divot, or you shouldn't. It should be, yeah, okay, folks, come on in here, Jared, and take a look at that. This is the one that he just hit right here. So by doing what he just did, his club hit the ball at the bottom of the arc. And that's all we can do for good contact. You start trying to catch it on the upswing of your arc, then you're going to chunk it because you hit a little behind, or you're going to hit thin. So you just achieved it. Now another thing that we would do would be to take an extra club and go ahead. And so we're going from pitching wedge to 8. Another thing we would do the longer the club is, the more club head speed we get. So we're trying to get over this tree, but get extra distance. So the other thing we would do is we would take the longer club. This is 2 clubs longer, but we would play it with a little bit of an open face. So we're going to have to aim left, okay, because we got an open face. Now also the ball will very likely fade because our face is open to our path, but it's going to get it up in the air, and the extra length of the golf club is going to give us hopefully a little more distance. We wouldn't want to open it so much that it really hurts the distance, but we would want to open it enough so that we get just a tight little fade and we're maxing out our loft.
Les, can you show us how you would open the face? You don't just grip it and then twist it open, right?
no, if I would put my face kind of where I want the ball to land, get my setup, and then I'd get my grip on there, keeping the face where it's at.
Okay, good. That's probably slightly more, yeah, there we go, right in there. That's probably about max right there. So it's all those other principles we talked about, and rip it. Okay, and now we got a little thin, but again, you didn't take a divot, so try that once more. That one, clank, 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 kapow! You just hit the tree. Oh boy, that got up in the air. You got a little bit of a divot, so that tells us that you didn't quite shallow, you didn't bottom out your arc right at the ball.
Right.
So just try again. Folks, he's human. I know it looks like he's not with that beautiful swing, but he just proved it. There we go. So when you're trying to get maximum height, you're going to do what we call it's more of a sweeping. You're not going to get a divot. You know, you're just going to kind of sweep, just catch it right at the bottom of the arc on the upswing. Okay, still no questions, right, G-Man? Jared?
No questions.
Sorry, Jared's trying to hold it like this because holding it like this, his arms were getting sore. Oh, and it stabilizes it.
And then when you're, holding it for 10 minutes, it's a little rough, but
Do we have any watchers?
Stacy's trying to injure my shoulder so he can beat me. But
I don't have to. You've been beating me the last 3 times out.
we have 5 viewers.
5 viewers still. Okay, well, we're going to go into one more thing. We're just going to talk about lie angle because when I asked Les, about his equipment, he said he wasn't sure about how well his clubs fit him as far as lie angle. And folks, well, I can't do it to you, Les. Let's just say his irons are a little dirty. Okay, so we're putting on what we call lie tape here. We're going to put it right on the bottom, and we're going to put it like that. And I love this lie tape. It's the first company I've seen do it. It's usually white and it makes a dark mark, but these guys here at Cleveland made it blue, so it really is nice. It's really easy to read because it just scrapes the blue off when he hits. So we have what's called a lie board. Callaway is our, Dustin is sponsored by him, so it's a company that we really believe in and support. They've done a great job. I actually got to go through the factory twice in the last 18 months, I guess you'd say, and I was quite impressed. So anyway, here we go. And he's just going to hit this ball off of this board, and he's going to catch a little divot, even though it's not going to be because the board is there, but that's what's going to make a mark on the bottom of the club. Okay, and I want that one, he got a little bit over the top, so I would expect this to be a little bit of a toe reading. And sure enough, it's a little bit of a toe reading, but as a fitter, I would throw that out a little bit because I know that wasn't your best on path, on plane, imbalanced swings. So I would say, Les, I need to see another one. I also don't expect it to get to middle, but I do expect to see with a better balanced swing and not over the top. I expect to see a mark that is a little more toward the center of the club head and not quite as far forward. And that was a similar move. I don't know if you caught any divot, did you? Okay, yeah, we got what I was talking about. Okay, so now you can see the second mark he made, as I was saying, it got closer to the center and back a little bit. So I'd like that reading better, but I still wouldn't consider it perfect, so I'd have him hit one more. Sorry, Les.
Ideally, we'd like the middle of the club making a perfect...
Yeah, if Jared wasn't the cameraman, I'd have him get his clubs and put a swing, and it'd be perfect.
Not true at all, but I appreciate it.
I bet you've had them fitted, though, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is important. So we're kind of seeing what Les was talking about. He wasn't sure that they were the right lie angle. Okay, there we go. That's the one. That's the mark we want. Okay, and you can see it, folks. And
there it is.
excuse me. So this last mark is dead center from about there to there, and that tells me that this iron fits in pretty well. Now, we could check, you can go through every club, which I would do for myself. Mm-hmm. It's a time-consuming thing, though, so maybe if it's a structured 1 hour or half hour or something like that, you get the mark on this one, and then from the manufacturer's specs that each lie angle change, and you can make sure they're all right by putting them in a lie loft machine and checking their actual loft. But we like that, man.
I know. That was a good one.
Isn't it correct also that even if you have been fitted, it's always good to do probably before the beginning of every year?
Jared brings up a good point. Metal can move. If you fly, the airplane companies can beat them up a little bit. They can so there's just ways they can get adjusted. If you're someone that takes a lot of divots, believe it or not, a forged head can over time bend because of that. So Jared's point was it's just a good idea to check it out at the beginning of every year and test them. Of course, that's, you know, Jared's a golf professional, so that's a high level. It's good advice for everyone, but people like Jared would be more motivated possibly to do it. But hopefully that tip gives you a little light bulb that, hey, maybe I should check my lie angle. Now, the reason, okay, we're not going to go too long today, but we don't have any questions either, right?
No questions.
Darn it. You're not pretty enough, man.
I know.
Okay. So Jared's gonna, this is a golf club face. Okay, so we're talking about where the club hits the ground right here. And Les's last swing caught right in the middle. You know, that mark was from here to here. So here's the issue with lie angle. You're like, why does it matter? Well, if your club is digging toe deep, so if Les's mark was out here, the golf ball with a no loft, there's no loft here, the golf ball is going to go straight no matter where the toe or heel is digging, the ball's still going right at you. But I'm going to go toe deep and I'm going to add sand wedge loft. Now can you see where that's going? Les, you want to stick your hand in there and show people which direction that's going to go? Yes, that's right. So the more loft we have with clubs that don't fit us, they go further offline, and the problem is that it would be fine if every club was going to do the same thing.
Right.
But each club, because the loft is changing, is going to go a little bit of a different direction. Down to the 2-iron or 3-iron, it's going to go the least amount right for a toe deep. And that's lie angle. Did I make it make sense?
Yep.
Jared, you think that was adequate?
Absolutely, and of course the other way is, you know, going left.
The other way is heel deep, right?
You know,
good point.
People can be, I've seen people very, very far off with a standard set, especially if you're taller, shorter, that type of deal. You know, it's always good to get fit. So.
All right, good call. So that's our show for today, folks. Les, we'll have to spend more time together before I can figure out how I can help you. I do see some subtle things in his swing that we'll work on, but I would need more time. I'm going to have to ask him more questions. I'm going to have to see more clubs, and I would really soak up a lot of information before I would tell him anything, because the last thing we want is, well, the last thing I want is to tell him something that doesn't work. So I'm going to soak up as much as I can so that I'm confident before I speak to him that what I'm saying is going to pan out. And that's always hard, because you can tell 10 different people that have the same problem, the same thing, and it's going to work for 1 or 2, and the other 8, I'm going to have to say something else to them, trying to get the same results.
Mm-hmm. Les is a competitive player.
Yeah, I don't know if I gave him his full bio. He's a Augustana College student and plays on the golf team. Did you keep a scoring average this year?
No, it was like around 81, 82.
81,
probably.
82. Well, doesn't look like that from his swing, folks, so I now know the answer. We're going to the chipping and putting green.
Short game.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and folks, send your questions. Keep joining in. We'd appreciate it. We would just want to promote this game. It's just the best game there is. It's fun. It's good for your fitness, good for your brain, and it's good to hang out with friends and be outdoors, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Jared. Jared's with us today, and here, Jared, let me give you some publicity.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no, there he is, folks. There he is. Thank you. That's our professional cameraman.
I apologize for the shoddy camera work today. We'll try to make it better next time.
Give him a shaka for Hawaii, my Hawaii fans.
Huh?
There we go. See you folks later.